Aye.
All right, so we'll get going this evening. Let's call the Planning Commission meeting of Thursday, February 25th, 2021 to order at 7:05 p.m. We'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the
Republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty.
liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to move on to 3, which is roll call. Mike, would you please take roll?
Sure. Larry Fox,
Here, Deerfield Township, Livingston County.
Michelle LaRose,
Here, Heartland Township, Livingston County.
Summer McMullen,
I think she's muted.
we'll
Sorry
take
about that. I have two microphones, so we'll try it again. Summer McMullen, here, attending from Heartland Township.
Great. Keith Voigt, he's absent. Grissom,
Here, Sue Grissom, Heartland Township.
very good. Tom Murphy
Here, Heartland Township.
and Mike Mitchell. I'm here, Heartland Township.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Next up is approval of our meeting agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda, LaRose.
I'll support that.
All right, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner LaRose, second from Commissioner Murphy. Are there any changes? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We have no meeting minutes to approve this evening. We'll move on to item 6, which is call to the public. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to take the opportunity to speak to the Planning Commission? Okay, seeing, hearing none, we'll close call to the public. We'll move up to item 7A. This is a site plan. It is site plan application number 20-013. This is for Spicer's Orchard. I think what I'd like to do, as we do here in Heartland, is we'll turn the meeting over to our planning director, Troy Langer. We'll then ask if anybody representing Spicer's would like to add anything to the presentation, and then the planning commission, the applicant, and our planning director will go through the staff review letter that we have dated February 18th. So with that being said, Troy, the floor or the meeting now is yours.
Thank you. Just going back to about May of 2020, the township board adopted a ordinance that essentially waived all zoning and other township regulations for restaurants that were limited on the interior seating capacity, that wanted to utilize their outside or outdoors areas. They could apply for a special event permit and have outdoor seating. It was good for 45 days and could be renewed as many times as they wanted, or until the limitations on interior seating capacity was eliminated. And any of those restaurants that wanted to make their outdoor seating area become permanent would have to proceed through the regular site plan review process. The Spicer's Orchards was one of those participants. They were able to undertake our temporary outdoor seating, and now they are looking to permanently have some outdoor seating or expand the outdoor seating at their facility. They actually have two areas. They have an area that's referred to as an east outdoor service area, which is about 6,300 square feet area. And then they have a west outdoor patio area, which is about 500 and so square feet. So these are the two areas that they're seeking to make permanent for their existing operation. And this does require approval from the Planning Commission for an amendment to the site plan. And with that, I'll be available to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Anyone with the applicant? Shannon, I see you out there. Was there anything that you would like to add to this particular item? Okay, not hearing anything. What we will do is move on now to the staff review letter we have received. It is dated February 18, 2021. The first couple pages of that are just a review of the actual Spicer's project and some of the amendments and some of the activities that have taken place over the years that it has been in existence. So I am on packet page 4 now. About midway down, you'll see a header labeled Site Plan Review. And if we start under there, the first paragraph, again, site description, I think we pretty much know where Spicer's is, and Troy did a good job of giving us an explanation that they're looking for the 2 outdoor seating dining areas. So the next item up is an impact assessment. For something of this nature, we don't require that. The same with the traffic generation. It's not viewed as going to change substantially. There's no requirement there. So now we're on to the actual site requirements, which we do have in our zoning ordinance. That's section 4.417, outdoor seating and dining. If I move on over to packet page 5, we'll see some of the standards or the items that we look at when reviewing an outdoor seating area. The first one being that the location of the outdoor seating must be immediately adjacent to the establishment that it's associated with. And as you can see from the drawing Troy put up, that they are complying with that. That also has to be the second item in a defined area, requiring a fence of at least 3.5 feet or a barrier of 3.5 feet, and must meet all fire codes and requirements of the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. They are meeting those. Are there any comments or questions for them on that? Capacity, I think probably this has some history to it. I know Troy and I've talked about this, but maybe that would be best to have Troy explain the capacity requirement here and how we get to that, and it relates to, and its relationship to parking.
Sure, thanks. The ordinance does have a limitation on the percent of outdoor seating you can have. It makes it a percent, 25% of the seating capacity of the interior restaurant. This is related to essentially parking, that if you were in a shopping complex or a standalone restaurant and you wanted to have a large amount of outdoor seating, that theoretically then you would have a need for more off-street parking. And if you didn't have adequate off-street parking, you could inhibit or it would cause a concern with neighboring businesses that their customers wouldn't have adequate parking because the restaurant and its expanded outdoor seating capacity could interfere with that. And the ordinance here says it's limited to 25% of the seating establishment. And what we did is we examined the off-street parking here. In this case, it's a little unusual. They have a 253-acre operation out there, and most of their parking is not in paved parking lots with curb and gutter. It's essentially fields that they have their clients or customers park in. So you can't necessarily count parking spaces or come up with a number, but clearly they have more than enough area to park vehicles on 253 acres to accommodate their customers that would go there.
Okay. Any questions for Troy on that? Any questions for Troy? So it looks more than enough parking and a reasonable request for size of outdoor dining based upon that. Next up, screening, probably pretty much relating to the fencing itself. Is everybody comfortable with the fencing that they are proposing? It is different on both, but it certainly fits within the atmosphere and the aesthetics of Spicer's themselves. Any comments on that?
So Larry, I would have a comment.
Sure.
I'm curious, so I understand the fencing part of it. I'm curious, is there any screening regarding landscaping?
No, I don't believe we, go ahead, Troy.
So typically in a commercial development such as what our next applicant is, no, there's no, you've got it's all pavement, and then you got the fence right there on top of the pavement. We don't typically require that they install some sort of landscape screen in front of the fence or anything. And in this case, it's an agricultural operation, and generally, well, we haven't gotten into it historically when this particular facility had come in, but we hadn't really looked at landscaping on an agricultural farm that much. So if that helps answer the question.
It does. I for sure understand that aspect of it. I was just curious on, just for any aesthetic landscaping, maybe at the corners or near the gates. But no, I'm good with it as it is. I was just curious about that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that? All right, I am now on packet page 6 up at the top of the page, pedestrian circulation. Looks like they've got some Michigan Building Code requirements to follow and Heartland Township Fire Marshal guidelines to follow. And it looks like, Troy, you guys are going to take a look at that when the actual land use permit is applied for?
Yeah, and then the way the Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority works on that is they more or less rely on actual physical site inspection, going out there and measuring how far the tables are set apart and if there's adequate spacing. So I don't think the Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority is going to be satisfied until they've physically been on the site and it's so.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. We're back at that parking spaces topic. Troy, do you think you covered it enough, or are there any other question from anybody regarding parking?
I do. Can you guys
Yes.
hear me okay? I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm remembering in the past when we talked about this that yes, there is room for the parking, but typically people are parking out in the road, and it was maybe becoming a problem to the neighbors. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I guess I just want to verify that, the parking that's going to be expanded for this use, and it might be on different hours than when kids are there with the orchard, that truly the parking can be accommodated, just like delineated out. I just don't want more to go out in the road.
I don't know if Shannon is able to comment, but I'll try to help answer some of that. We did reach out to Shannon with Spicer's, and although there was more than adequate parking in the grass fields where people could park, some people were just, without asking, were just parking on the road. And so we've talked with Spicer's about that, and they are they attempt to monitor that and tell people they can't park on the road. The township is relying on them to police and curb people from parking on the road there. So if you're referring to something recent, I'm very interested in knowing about that. But if you're referring to something that may have been a year or two or longer ago, I think they're trying to address that. But there's adequate parking. It's just some people feel it's quicker if I just park on the road and I can walk to the building versus parking in the back part of the lot or field, I guess. I can't even call it a lot at that point, but does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Sounds good.
Would a
Okay.
sign be preferable that says no parking along the roadway?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. You're trying to get into the minds of, some people want to park as close as they can to their, to wherever they're going, and sometimes the signs would help, sometimes maybe not. I can't say for sure, but it might help.
Well,
I'm offering that as a suggestion. I don't want to indicate that they would have to put a sign up, but for remote's sake to the general public.
that's probably, that is probably outside of our jurisdiction. My guess, that's probably the road commission. I don't know, maybe somebody else jumps in on that besides the township, since that's a county road. But Troy, do you have any input on that?
Yeah, we've had conversations with the road commission about that. There's a process you could go through for the road commission to post no parking signs, and then patrons could be towed in the event that they did. My understanding is part of that conversation that the township had with the road commission, and then the township has had with Shannon. It hasn't risen to that level. And Shannon has attempted to assure us that they're going to monitor it and have people out there directing people. So if this is something that's fairly recent, I'm very interested in hearing about it. But if this is a reflection of in the past, I think it's fair to at least give them an opportunity to see if they can't resolve it. But there are some measures that we can undertake in the future. And we've had those conversations with Shannon about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Any
Sounds good.
further questions, comments from anybody? Bob?
Hey, don't mean to jump on there. Just want to give you an update on the road condition, just to add a little bit more value. I have been working with the Livingston County Road Commission, and actually I worked with Shannon prior. What we're trying to do is get seasonal traffic control order along that stretch there. We don't know. What we're attempting to do is get no parking and a reduced speed limit temporarily during the fall season, if you will. So you are correct. This is a much bigger animal to deal with the road commission, but we are certainly aware of it and proceeding forward with that. Just to kind of let you guys know, it's on our radar.
And so I would make a comment that I support that activity, being a long-term resident, and even as of late, Troy, I can't really say that it was last fall per se, but it is a safety issue. So I'm really good that that's being addressed for our citizens.
Okay. Anybody else on the parking situation? And I'm going to move along to page 7.
Would it be appropriate for me to comment on that at this time,
Oh,
or would you like
yep.
me to wait?
Yep.
No, Shannon, please jump in on that. Your mic is off now, so please do.
Okay. So we have spent a lot of time, effort, and money into alleviating the traffic concerns there on Clyde Road. Especially this year, I felt that we did a really darn good job of keeping the cars back away from the road and keeping it so that visually people traveling down Clyde Road could see if there was somebody trying to cross. We added signs on both sides of the road, trying to address people to park back away from the road or not park and along the edges, or if they were going to park back, they had to park back by the trees and off the curb. We had some areas where there was no parking, and we felt that the signage we used was pretty successful. And then in that, we added, similar to what they do in front of the schools, where they put like a pedestrian crossing signs, kind of like cones, kind of in the center line, asking people to slow down and, you know, pedestrian crossing, and so that they were very, very visible. And we got the ones that, you know, if they bend if cars bump into them and things like that. We put a lot of effort and time into trying to address that. And I feel like this season has been the best season in the last few seasons as far as the traffic going across Clyde Road is concerned. I do think that probably the biggest issue is the backup of traffic across the bridge or coming off the expressway. And I'm not certain how we would be able to influence that, since that's kind of, you know, further off the property.
Oh, thank you for that input, Shannon. We appreciate it. Any other questions or comments for Shannon while we've got her here? Okay. All
I
right.
do have a comment, Larry.
Absolutely.
So being a neighbor, let's say, of Spicer's, I did notice a big difference last year, since I travel Clyde Road quite often, and those signs were helping, that she was mentioning. I didn't see any people parking on the shoulder like previous years.
Oh,
That's
perfect.
it.
Okay. Well, thank you for that input also. Anyone else? All right. If not, I'm going to move on to page 7, packet page 7, furniture. This will all get covered over when they use the land use permit. They were mentioning what they're using in there. Everybody okay with what's being proposed and what they're currently using? Nod heads.
Yes.
Some guidance. Okay. All right. Waste disposal, same thing. That'll get covered at a land use application. Any operating restrictions? It looks like the hours of operation are okay. Seasonal operation. You guys okay with what they're proposing there? They're going to extend outside normally what we see outdoors, but you know, life seems to have changed. People enjoy the outdoors a little more than they used to.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a comment on that. I can understand the desire to want to take full advantage of the good weather. But I'm just seeing what's coming ahead on the agenda as well. If this opens the door for continuously getting requests to extend outside those dates, if it makes sense that maybe that window needs to increase collectively across the board. I would just want to consider that, because you know, if you grant one here, then another one could come along and another one. And if we're okay with it, it seems like we should just be okay with it for everybody. I can understand wanting to be partway into March. I can understand wanting to be into December if the weather's appropriate, so.
Troy and I just had this discussion. If you didn't hear, Troy and I just had this discussion. This may be something we need to bring up at the commission. This ordinance was developed probably 15 years ago. And the history of the ordinance is that it was developed by surrounding communities and what they were doing. At the time, we did not have an outdoor seating ordinance, and we needed to get one. So we looked at what the surrounding communities had, and we basically copied what everybody else has. So this was that, but that's 15 years ago. And I think things have changed more than just in the last year. And there's a lot more drive to be on the outside. You look at the outdoor shopping mall reinventions and all the things that are going on. So my suggestion to Troy was at a future date, we bring this up to the commission and discuss whether we should open this up, because there are some limitations in here that maybe should be evaluated. And that's exactly one of them. Personal opinion, if somebody wants to put enough heaters outside and people want to sit around a heater in January, do I really care? So just my personal opinion on that, maybe shouldn't have given it, but I would agree with your comments, Michelle. I think that this is something that needs to be looked at. But in regards to them, are you comfortable with this, with the understanding that we're probably going to bring this back up?
Yes, I am.
Everybody else okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
Good. So furniture storage, you guys are aware of that. Of course, that might get revisited if we go to a different calendar of operating. I'm over on packet page now 8. There's no new lighting proposed. Noise, the applicant has been informed of it. Next item up, patron entrance and exit. Looks like we've got, for the most part, everything to be done. There's a question on some of the gates that need to be evaluated, but that is going to occur with the fire marshal. Is that my understanding, Troy?
Yeah, what the fire marshal wants is that, and it's a hypothetical scenario, that the building is ablaze on fire and then people sitting out on the patio don't have to, the gate's locked. The only way they can get out of the enclosed area is to go into the burning building to get out of the outdoor seating area. So what they want are some sort of gates that can be opened in an emergency type situation. I don't know if that helps explain it.
Okay, everybody good with that? Food and
Yes.
beverage service, that looks like that's not our department. Display and advertising, looks like everything is okay. The applicant's been informed of any requirements we have. Moving on over to packet page 9, DPW has no comments, engineer has no comments. Fire authority does have their comments there. And it looks like the West Winery is approved as is, and the East one just needs a inspection.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments, questions for either Troy or Shannon? She's still with us. I'm thinking she can hear what we're saying. Everybody good?
Just that I really appreciate as a business owner the opportunity that Heartland Township has given some of these businesses to make some of these temporary outdoor areas permanent, and that the process has been a smooth one. And and even the opportunity to have those outdoor areas during the COVID pandemic, I just would like to thank this group for keeping that in mind and being proactive to allow these to happen.
Well, thank you, Shannon, and we're looking forward to help, not hurt. So thank you very much. If the planning commission is so inclined, on the front cover, packet page 2, we'll see the motion for this specific application. I would be looking for that if you are so inclined.
I will make a motion to approve site plan application number 20-013, a request to amend the approved site plan and establish 2 permanent outdoor seating dining areas adjacent to the winery building at Spicer Orchards Farm Market located at 10411 Clyde Road. Approval subject to the following conditions. Number 1, the applicant shall adequately address the outstanding items noted in the planning department's memorandum dated February 18th, 2021 on the construction plan set, subject to an administrative review by the planning staff prior to the issuance of the land use permit. And number 2, the applicant complies with any requirements of the Department of Public Works Director and the Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority and all other government agencies as applicable.
All right. Tom, your mic's off, but I saw your lips move.
I'll try that again. I support.
All righty. We have a motion to approve site plan application number 20-013 for Spicer's Orchard from Commissioner LaRose, second from Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ace. Congratulations, Shannon. We look forward to spending some time over at your place.
Once again, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Next up on the agenda, item 7 This is site plan application number 21-002 for Mackle's Table and Tops. Again, we'll just follow the same format. Troy will turn the meeting over to you. If Joe or Yvonne would like to add anything at that point, they're welcome to do that. And then we'll go through the staff review letter we have dated February 18th. So Troy, the meeting is yours.
Thank you. Again, similar to the last request, when the township adopted the ordinance to waive all of its standards to allow restaurants to utilize their outdoor space to increase seating capacity. This applicant was one of them that was able to partake in that and has elected to expand their outdoor seating area permanently. This does require going to the Planning Commission for site plan approval to amend that site plan. In this case, their expansion is significantly smaller. We're talking about adding essentially just 4 tables to they're expanding their existing outdoor seating area. So it adds a total of 16 seats. And it's just, as you can see from the site plans that you have there, it's just an expansion of what is already an existing outdoor seating area. And that's it really in a nutshell.
Okay.
If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer.
All righty. I see that the applicants are here with us this evening. Joe or Yvonne, is there anything you'd like to add to this? If not, we're going to proceed to the review letter.
No, we appreciate the opportunity. As was just noted by Shannon, the industry is changing and people do want to be outside quicker, sooner, and longer. So we appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Joe. What I'm going to do now is grab the staff review letter dated February 18th, 2021, and we are going to begin on packet page number 57. Same location of site plan review. You'll see it up there in the top, maybe 10, 20%. A little bit of review at the top, as Troy mentioned, we're talking 4 tables, 16 seats. Impact assessment, nothing required. Traffic generation, nothing required at this time. And then we get to the site requirements for actual outdoor seating and dining in the zoning ordinance, section 4.47. And we have the same criteria we looked at on the previous application. Right now I'm looking at location must be adjacent to the establishment of which it's associated, which it is, and it complies. It shall be defined by a barrier of 3.5 feet in height. It does meet those requirements. Capacity, we're on that parking thing again, and Troy, just for the benefit of the record, for anybody looking, could you go through that one more time for us with this applicant?
Yeah, so as I had mentioned previously, the outdoor seating area is kind of capped at 25% of the seating capacity in the restaurant. In this case, we are going to exceed that. That generally relates to the off-street parking. And as I've noted elsewhere in the staff report, that I believe there's 135 parking spaces are required, and there's 203 parking spaces throughout this site. In addition, there's areas to the east that are they're just not striped, and they weren't shown as dedicated parking spaces, but could easily be striped and could count. So there's even additional areas that could be added as parking. I'm sure people park there already as it is. It's just that it's not striped, and therefore we can't count it as off-street parking.
Okay, any questions on that one for Troy? All right, moving on. We are at screen. We have the same complementary fence that they have around the, similar to the fence they have around the outdoor seating at this time. Everybody satisfied with that? Okay. Pedestrian circulation, as it was noted, it'll be approved by the fire marshal when that time comes. Parking spaces, Troy just covered that once again for us. So I am now flipping pages on packet page 59. about the center of the page furniture. Looks like we're using something similar to matching existing. Everything would be fine there. Waste disposal covered at the land use application. Hours of operation look like they pretty much fall in line. Taking a look, season of operation. Mackle's looking to add more in the spring than what we've got. We had this discussion at the last one. Is everybody comfortable working with that at this time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same
Yeah.
comment, something to be visited in the near future.
So I guess if it's all right, you know,
Mhm.
I hate to have their, if I could ask the applicant, he's got till October. And I just would like to, this might be an opportune time that if he really wanted to go beyond October, would anyone have any issues with him going into like December, such as our prior applicant? So I hate to have these things come back on little things like that. And if there's a chance to clear that up right now, I guess I'd like to take that opportunity.
I take the same attitude as Larry just took. I really don't care when they're open. You know, if they want to sit out to December, you know, so be it.
Yeah, I Troy, is it being just wrong at this point in time to not have a time frame on it and allow them to be 12 months? And I have to believe reasonable people will come to a reasonable conclusion that if a business wants to put a environment together that entices people to sit out and eat or have a beverage in January out on the patio of their restaurant, why would I care? Is that okay for us to just not put a time frame on it, on the season, or is that correct?
Well, because the ordinance has specific dates listed and the planning commission has that flexibility to grant some variation of that, I just wanted to, if that's what the planning commission wants to do, then that's fine with me. If that's their goal, is just to let them have it 12 months out of the year, I don't have any concerns with it, but I guess this would be the time to do it.
Could we just get comments on that?
So, yeah, Commissioner, Chairman, my opinion would be that that would be very fine with me to allow this to go for 12 months. I agree that if folks want to be outside, and it helps with the restaurant business, I'm all for that.
My only hesitation in doing that here is that we didn't go that far in the previous request, which maybe it doesn't matter at this point, but I feel like if we're gonna start doing that, we should try to address that timeframe sooner rather than later.
Well, what if we were for this application to address it as they've requested it? And then we make a commitment to get this addressed before we get to the fall, since we're already almost to March anyway.
Sure.
If we took this on and fixed this, and it's up so that it was contemporary so it was for today, by the fall, 6 months from now, then we could leave this application as it is, and then it's not going to matter come December or January if it's corrected by that.
Sure.
Would that work for Michelle? Would that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. It gives us a time frame to address it as well instead of leaving it out there.
Okay. Everybody fine with that?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we'll do. Troy, we'll approve this as requested, and then we'll work on this in the next 6 months. And we'll look at the whole ordinance. See, we got furniture storage, already been informed of that. No additional lighting, noise, applicant's been informed. Troy, I do think in here it says the gate access was not provided, but if I look at the drawing right now, highlighted in yellow, I see a gate on that. Is it now provided in the packet, but maybe wasn't at the time of this letter?
Yeah.
So the access has been shown.
Yeah. And
We have
again,
that.
the concern here is the owner of the business doesn't want patrons to come and go through that gate as they please. They want to have that kind of lock so that they can keep an eye on who's coming into that outdoor seating area. And of course, the fire department wants that in the event the building's ablaze, that people don't have to rush into the burning building to get out, so they can exit out out an emergency gate. So since the time that memo was written from the fire marshal's office, you can see that's way back in November. They've provided us that information.
Okay, all righty. Looks like the food and beverage services is not our department, but it is in here. And I'm moving on to packet page 61. Applicants been informed of the display and the advertising guidelines. No additional zoning ordinance, no DPW comments. Engineer has no comments to it. Looks like the fire marshal is happy with it. Is there any further discussion, any questions for either Troy or the Mackles themselves? If not, there is a motion on packet page number 5, which is the cover of this memo, if you're so inclined.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the site plan application 21-002, a request to amend the approved site plan and expand an existing outdoor seating dining area for Mackle's Table and Tap by adding 4 tables with 16 seats at 1774 Old US 23 in Heartland Town Center. Approval is subject to the following conditions. 1, the applicant shall adequately address the outstanding items noted in the Planning Department's memorandum dated February 18th, 2021 on the construction plan set, subject to administrative review by the planning staff prior to issuance of a land use permit. 2, applicant complies with any requirements of the Department of Public Works Director and Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority and all other governmental agencies as applicable.
Support.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Grissom, a second from Commissioner Mitchell to approve site plan application number 21-002 for Mackle's Table and Tops. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Congratulations, Joe and Yvonne.
Thank you. Greatly appreciated. Look forward to working with the township more in the future.
All right. Thank you. Next up, item 8, call to the public. Anyone out there this evening wish to address the Planning Commission? Okay, seeing none, I will move to item 9, Planners Report. Troy?
Yep, I just have 42 items to go over. Just one item. We had our public hearing on our future land use amendment and comp plan amendment that was sent off to the Livingston County Planning Commission. They have reviewed that and recommended approval. So that will continue on to the Township Board at their March 2nd meeting. Also, at our meeting first meeting in February, we recommended approval of an ordinance amendment for drive-through restaurants and their menu boards. And that has been sent off to the Livingston County Planning Commission as well. So that's it.
All right, item 10 would be our committee report. Comments, anyone? All right, and I'm moving to 11, which is the adjournment. Can I have a motion and second, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. As LaRose.
Yep.
Support.
All righty, we have a motion from Rose, second from Commissioner Mitchell. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good night. Thank you and congratulations to our applicants.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.